G'day chaps, it's Nathan here with a complete beginner's guide to Elite Dangerous, the 10 things to know before you start trading. Now who is this for? Firstly, it's for noobs and those looking to make more money. Now I've seen other guides on YouTube, but they're based on the Gamma release, and things have changed a lot since then, so I thought I'd create a new guide for the full release game, complete with an updated online tool. I'll also show you the traditional or in-game way at the end of the video, in case the tool I mention is removed. Now if it is removed, and you don't want to do it the hard way, then I'm sure there'll be other tools that spring up if the one I mentioned disappears. So I'd recommend checking out the latest Reddit threads. They'll probably talk about what there is. Now, firstly, you'll need some seed money. So go to the bulletin board and do some missions. The best thing is to transport goods on the board. This is going to be relatively safe, and it will give you a chance to get used to piloting your ship if you're new. Secondly, you're going to want to choose a relatively safe, high-tech system with a high population. Now, high-tech is important because they'll be demanding things like gold or medical supplies, which tend to be higher in price, and higher priced goods are going to allow you to make more profit on the goods. If a good is very cheap, you might only make 100 or 200 credits, and that's just not worth it. I'll come back to how much you want to be aiming to earn in just a minute. So, you want to choose a relatively safe high-tech system with a high population. This will also mean you'll have demand if the population is high. And by safe, I mean you want lots of police forces around. Plus, you want to consider choosing a major faction, as when you're trading you'll slowly begin to gain favor. So, who do you want to become allied with? I personally chose the Federation and started in Sol, the Sol system, because I liked the views and I wanted to kind of roleplay it a bit. Now, thirdly, find a route the easy way. I'd recommend using elitetradingtool.co.uk. That's elitetradingtool.co.uk, and I'll put that link in the description as well. Now, what you want to do is you put in your base location, you set the parameters, and you search. Simple. You're going to be in a small ship, so choose a small landing pad, because you'll be in a Sidewinder or maybe a hauler. Also important, make sure you check the distance from the jump point. That's the distance from the jump in point, and this is very important. The reason is, if you're 3,000 light seconds from the jump in point, that means you'll be staring at the screen for a long time every time you do a trade run. What that figure actually means is, because every time you jump into a system, you jump in by the sun, the star, at the center of the system, and everything is orbiting around that. So that figure actually tells you the distance from the point at which you jump into the system. So every time you jump into the system, you're still going to have to travel to the station you want to get to. If it's 3,000 light seconds from your jump-in point, that means you're going to be staring at the screen for a long, long time. Plus, you're going to be vulnerable to interdictions. So, better to choose 1,000 light seconds or less. Okay, point 4. Aim for 1,000 per ton each way. And on the trading tool, Elite Trading Tool, that will show up as over 2,000 in the results. The very least you should ever bother with is 800 each way. Any less just isn't worth it. And about 1,100 or 1,200 seems to be about the limit, at least in version 1.04, which is the current version I'm recording on now, and today is the 10th of January 2015. It may change over time, but unlikely. Okay, point 5. Make sure you upgrade your ship's storage first, but, and this is very important, always keep enough money to cover the cost of the goods you'll be buying. Now you want to do this because you want to ensure you're always maxing out your cargo space. If you've got, for example, 30 in cargo space, you don't want to be only buying 20 units. So make sure you keep enough cash to cover your trading. Don't worry about upgrading other things yet. You'll be able to buy those soon enough. Just upgrade your cargo space and max it out every time. Okay, point 6. get your jumps down to as few as possible. So once you've got enough money, you've got spare, you want to start investing that spare cash into upgrades. Now this makes your trading faster and less boring. So upgrade your frameshift drive first, then I'd recommend the power plant, distributor and thrusters. The thrusters, incidentally, and other things also make your maneuverability better and will help you avoid ships if you get interdicted. And don't worry so much about the money you're spending. You get most of this back when you sell your ship. Okay, point 7. Make sure you can escape an interdiction with defensive points. Now, you are going to be in a trading ship. You're going to be in a sidewinder, hauler. If you've traded for a while, you're going to be in a type 6. If you're in a Cobra, it's not so bad, but yeah, the kind of things in between, you want to make sure you can escape. The aim here is to simply make sure you don't die in the time it takes to charge your frameshift drive and escape. So if you don't know what an interdiction is, quickly, this is when you are traveling at the speed of light and another ship can bring you down to normal speed and attack you. And their aim is either to destroy you or steal your cargo. So you want to invest in defensive points. I choose point defense because this shoots down any missiles or torpedoes. You also want to choose an electric countermeasure if you can, and you can choose to have chaff. Now, chaff throws gimbaled weapons off. Gimbaled weapons are automatic aiming weapons, and they can be quite powerful, and they throw them off. However, on the other hand, you have to physically fire the chaff, and it can take a little practice. The good thing about the point defense or electronic countermeasures is it's automatic. As a final part to this point, I'd say if you're in a smaller ship like the Sidewinder, I'd just skip this step. You want to get into a hauler just as soon as you can. The Adder is another ship, slightly more powerful than the hauler. This might be better rather than the hauler because it can take more. It has more hard points, so you can do more defending and fighting. But at the start of the game, you want to basically aim to go from Sidewinder to hauler or the Adder, and then you want to get into a Cobra just as soon as you can. A Cobra is a well-rounded ship that has more cargo space than the hauler, in fact, but can fight. So get out of the hauler if you're using it, if you can. The good thing about the hauler is it's cheap. Get out of it as soon as you can. It's just a stepping stone. Okay. Point 8. If you're clearly being hunted while you're using your frameshift drive, so if you're clearly being hunted while you're in light speed, and you can tell this because the ship gets behind you and starts gaining. So on your holographic representation of the ship, it will be behind you. You can see it on your radar. It will be pointing forward as it's behind you. Now, if you see this, that means you may be interdicted. You may be attacked. And the best defense to being interdicted is not to be interdicted in the first place. So, if you see a ship behind you and gaining, and it's something like an Eagle, or a Python, or a Cobra, just throttle down just as soon as you can, and I twist the stick, or turn your mouse to kind of throw them off, but slow down, and then drop out of frameshift drive, go back to normal speed for a few minutes, because that means they won't be able to catch you. Just wait, and then continue with your trip to the station. The chances are they'll have moved on or interdicted someone else in the meantime. So, again, if you're being chased, once you've jumped into a system, and you're on your way to a station, you see a ship behind you, play it safe, throttle down, drop out of light speed, just wait a minute or two. Okay, point 9. Do not crash. This is very important. While you can buy your ship back at any point, there is an insurance system in the game. Any lost cargo is gone forever. And if that cargo is gold or another high value item, it can be very, very expensive. I once lost $500,000 when my ship blew up and a cargo bay full of very expensive gold span off into space. Some guys, you'll see a lot of people doing guides on YouTube or doing videos on YouTube, trading on YouTube. Some guys go without their shield so that they can cram in that tiny bit more cargo space to their ship. However, I've learned the hard way, and I'd probably recommend keeping mine on. And finally, point 10. Be patient. I'd break trading up into chunks and have a goal. It can be a slow process and pretty tedious. However, it's quite relaxing and the views are astounding. Plus, it helps you get used to piloting your ship and docking. I personally tend to put on a little music in the background and just chill out. I do it in chunks of an hour or so. If you're in a Cobra, you can go and do fighting missions or kill wanted ships every now and again. If you're in a Type 6, a bigger ship with 100 cargo like I am, I'd recommend buying a Viper as a second ship and then going off and doing some fighting missions on the bulletin board, or just going off and finding some wanted ships so you can add a bit of variety into the game. And that's it. That wraps up my guide. I hope you liked it very much. I will now go into the bonus material where I show you how to find trade routes the traditional way. This is also worth watching because things like the Elite Trading Tool, they rely on data that the community are inputting to the tool themselves. So they're not actually taking data directly from the Elite Dangerous game itself. So there are chances that their data is off or they're missing a route. And I know personally that one of my favorite routes, the one that made me most of my money, didn't seem to be in that tool at all. So I would recommend watching this just so you've got a comprehensive knowledge. And here we go. Now the first thing you want to look for when you're trying to find a trade route is what is in demand in your chosen system. Now, just for reference, I've chosen here a high-tech system. This is Anlave, and you can find out if it's high-tech or not by going to View, and you go to Map, and alright, ignore all of that, it's a total mess, but what you're looking for is this part here, Filters, Show by Color, and you want to choose from the drop-down Economy. Now this shows all the different economy types by their color, and this is incredibly useful. What you're seeing here, this light green, this is high tech, and that you can actually remove all the rest, leaving yourself with high tech. And this is the high tech that I referred to earlier. This is what you want to be looking for. This is ideal as a starting point. You can also tell by looking at this system, okay, population is 4.0 billion. It's a very large system, so there's going to be enough demand to satisfy quite a lot of trading. Okay, I'll come back to this in just a minute. Just while I'm here, extraction also tends to be quite handy. So red, that's a good place to source metals. Metals are high value items that you can make quite a lot of money from. And for the places to supply to, look for high tech. So high tech, any kind of high tech with a large population is a good base. Okay, so we've chosen our system, and then we go to the commodities market. Now what we're looking for is this column here, demand. We are looking for items that are in high or medium demand. Medium demand is okay. High demand is better. That just means you're going to get higher prices when you sell. And so you're looking in this column here, demand, and you're looking at the price, the sell price. It's slightly confusing, which is sell and buy. Buy just basically means that's the price they're going to give you. So you see there, 6173. That's the price they're going to give you if they sell to you. So these are the prices that you get if you buy or you sell. Okay, and then you want to be looking for items that are in demand. And then the other thing you want to be looking for is the actual value of the item itself. So let's take an example. If we're looking at clothing here under consumer items, the demand is fine. It's medium, there's a lot of it. It's not going to be exhausted anytime soon. However, the problem is that the price is too low. Clothing price is 446. Any potential profit might be maybe 50 or 100. It's not even worth looking at. So we browse down until we find a higher value item. Okay, so here we go. Demand is medium. The sell price is 7385 superconductors. So that price is high enough that you're going to be able to make some profit on it. The galactic average is kind of a good reference, and that shows you that the price here is higher than it is on average throughout the rest of the galaxy. So there's a good price, a good sell price. All you need to do is find out where they are sold, where you can buy them at a good price. So to do that, let's take superconductors as an example. You exit that, go to your galaxy map, under view, clear all trade routes, and you go to your chosen product. In this case it's superconductors, and there you go. Now what that's doing is it's only showing the trade routes for superconductors. Now I've already purchased the trade data. That's very important. It only costs you 100 credits, so very much worth doing. And you can see here that, well, you can physically see which places are supplying superconductors. Now, unfortunately, the next stage is very laborious, very slow, time-consuming, and quite boring. You have to go to each of these systems and visit the stations in those systems and find out which ones are selling superconductors. There's a slight shortcut to this. You can go to the, let's say for example here, Wolf 46. Let's purchase the trade data just for good measure. Okay, so that shows that they're selling superconductors to other systems as well. So there's a high chance that that's a major supplier of superconductors. You go into purchase exploration data, and that allows you to see the system view. And then you go into the system view and you look at the stations and you look for the exports. Okay, so this one's exporting gold, silver and cobalt. This one too. Okay, so unfortunately you can't tell which one is exporting the product you're after, in this case superconductors. So you have no choice. You have to physically go to that system. You have to land on this station. You have to go to the commodities market in that station, and then I'd recommend taking screenshots of the entire commodities market, saving it in one folder, and then starting to use that for reference. Basically, as I said before, you're looking for the lowest price you can find for the supply of your product. So we're looking for superconductors in high supply. High supply, I would argue, is more important than high demand. So you're looking for, let's say for example here, I'm talking about supply now. If we were going to sell progenitor cells, this is actually a very good product to sell. You can see here the galactic average for this price is 7,000. These guys here are actually selling it. We can buy it for 6,154. That means anywhere with any kind of demand should buy progenitor cells for a fairly decent price, and we're going to make at least 800 or 900 profit on those. So when you're looking for a product to supply the station you've chosen, when you want to supply that demand, you want to make profit, the most important thing is to look for supply of that product and a high supply. Now again, there are going to be lots of tools out there that you can use to help you find where that supply is. The problem with the galactic map that I'm showing you here is that it only shows stuff in a kind of reasonable vicinity to where you want to sell. So that's only showing stuff up to, let's say, LHS here, it's 14 light years. And I've found that the best profits tend to be 20 light years plus away. So the galactic map doesn't actually help you do that. There are going to be tools out there. There are always going to be tools out there. I'd recommend using those. But just for reference, now you understand if you want to find something that's closer to your system, or maybe you don't want to put the time into jumping every time, you're happy to take 800 or 900 profit for each run. That's how you do it. Now then, thank you very much for watching. I hope you've enjoyed this and found it useful. If you've got any more questions, post them in the comments. One thing I did forget to mention earlier, and I'll say it right now because it's absolutely critical, is that when you're trading, do not forget to leave enough money in your balance to cover the rebuy cost of your ship. If you crash or lose your ship and you don't have enough to cover the insurance, you can't buy it back and you lose all of your upgrades, all of the money you've invested in your ship. You're back to the beginning and you're broke. So, very important. Always, when you're trading, don't spend all of it. Okay, you want to buy enough, and then always make sure. So, for example, here the rebuy cost of my ship is 51,400 and whatever. You got to make sure you have at least 52,000 in the bank in case you do crash, because then at least you can buy your ship back and carry on trading. Thank you very much for watching, and yeah, stay tuned. Please like the video. It does actually help. I think YouTube promotes videos that get more likes, so it does actually do me a favor if you like the video. And yeah, I'd appreciate it if you subscribe. I'll be producing more guides like this throughout the year. Take care, guys, and see you later.